Thank you, Ms. Schetzer. And next, we would like to call Mr. Scotty Robertson to the podium, please. Now, Scotty, you've done this before.
Congratulations to our new city manager, Ashley Combs, and also just to say how much I appreciate this council in the choice of course, just a few months ago, Earl Nelson, a young African-American, to serve as our police chief, and then a young, competent woman in Ashley Combs to serve as our city manager. I think it says a whole lot about your vision of really wanting to move the city forward in some very innovative ways. You could have made an easier, more convenient choice in both of those picks, but you chose not only the most qualified for sure, but you made really good, solid decisions, at least in my calculation. Now, I'll take that hat off and put my hat on as a citizen. I also am curious about the process that you as a council used in choosing the new city manager. I was told in more than one forum that the process would be both assistant city managers would serve 6-month terms, and then the search would begin for a new city manager. And so since that's not what the process was, I would just like you to share with all citizens what the process was and make it as transparent as you can, because I think I want Ms. Combs to begin her tenure as strongly as she can. And while there is this confusion and concern about the process that's out there, I just want to give you an opportunity to clear that up so that she can begin and we all can begin working together on a much stronger footing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robertson. That concludes our public participation. The next agenda item is council comments. We will begin to my left with Councilmember Lawley, followed by Councilmember Carter, and then to my right with Councilmember West, followed by Councilmember Horn, and I will speak last. Mr. Lawley.
Thank you, Mayor Slamka. First of all, congratulations to City Manager Combs. As somebody who has worked with Ms. Combs for nearly 10 years, and especially the last 3, I can say that this is an excellent choice for Middletown, and I'm excited to continue to work with you, Ms. Combs, for many years to come. On another note, I'm excited to see that we are finally able to confirm that Chick-fil-A is coming to Middletown. And there's actually one person who was instrumental in making that deal happen, and that's our new city manager, Ashley Combs. I can tell you that this has been in the works with Chick-fil-A for over 2 years. And it was kept highly confidential at Chick-fil-A's request. Ms. Combs and her team worked diligently behind the scenes to assure that this project would come to fruition, and I appreciate all of the city staff, especially those in the planning, zoning, code, who was involved in this and their hard work. Because I can tell you factually that this was city staff who made this happen and nobody else. I also read with excitement that our city income taxes are up by $233,000 as of February 2025 year to date, compared to February 2024 year to date. So this is great news, and hopefully we can continue this trend for all of 2025. So great job to Finance Director Samantha Zimmerman and her team in the Finance Department. And they are kind of the behind-the-scenes city staffers who really aren't out in the limelight, but they do a fantastic job. So thank you, Sam, and your team. And to our Economic Development Department, who work hard to help our businesses come and grow, and all the departments that help make Middletown work. And then in that regard, and mostly to the citizens of Middletown, because without this, without your hard work and paying your city income taxes, this wouldn't be possible. So thank you to our citizens. And with that, I have nothing else.
Thank you, Mr. Lawley. Mrs. Carter.
Good evening, Middletown. Thank you, Ashley, for accepting the position of the city manager. I knew it could be scary at times. I just like to thank everyone for having faith in Ashley, having faith in all of us. And I also would like to say that this is becoming a up and coming. I have faith that things will be much better and we will see much growth. So congratulations. Be talking to you.
Thank you, Mrs. Carter. Mr. West.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Congratulations, Ms. Combs. It's well-deserved. You know, for a long time, as a citizen here, I would avoid coming in the city building. Usually it was either, well, judge is gone, either to go to court or pay taxes. But, you know, as I came onto council a little over a year ago, got to know a lot of city staff, and there's a few folks that were always extremely helpful, knowledgeable, and Ashley for sure. This is well deserved, and we're very excited to see the positive changes that you're going to bring here to Middletown. With that said, just a quick shout out to Public Works. Scott, I noticed we had an issue on one of the side streets here that was a little bit dangerous, and a couple cars had some tires blow out, and it was literally, I think, the next day or maybe the same day. Your crews were out there and a quick fix, so thank you so much. And also, if you've been driving around the last couple of days, Street Sweeper has been putting in some overtime, so the streets are definitely getting a lot more cleaned up. Only additional thing I have is keepmiddletownbeautiful.org. If you go to their website, sign-ups are now live for Earth Day, which will be April 26th. So while you can show up to volunteer for Earth Day, we urge everyone to go through Keep Middletown Beautiful's website to get a shirt, and then they know how much protective gear and stuff like that to have ahead of time. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. West. Mr. Horn.
Congratulations, City Manager Combs. I know you're going to do great things with this city, and you're going to continue to work and build your team to help us grow all the way around this city, and I have full confidence in that. First of all, I want to talk about events. I attended on the 15th, I attended at the Middletown Arts Center, the Fire and Ice, and that was Darren Goodman did a outstanding job with his display of glass, and he actually did some demonstrations, and they had food, they had drinks there, and other demonstrations of science and such. The reason I was so passionate about when they came just to ask for a contribution or to be put on our budget, as I said before, and I still feel this way, is that is part of the fabric of Middletown. At one time we had the Middletown Symphony. We still have the Middletown Arts. We had Midfest. These things are going to come back. Maybe not the symphony, but we're going to see where we're going to have events here. We're going to draw people here, but also make it where people want to live here, want to work here, and potentially even start a family here. So that's always something that, looking on our website, and Clayton Castle does an outstanding job on making sure all of the events that are coming up are there, and we just need to take advantage of those. The more that we gather as citizens and see that there's positive things that can happen in Middletown, the more that we'll appreciate it, and the more people will come here. And just with it getting warmer, again, just check out the Middletown Arts Center website. SORG is starting to have their events, and then even downtown, after the airport commission, I just walked around downtown, and I noticed they started having calendars up because the weather is getting warmer, and things are starting to happen. On the lines of the website, in our charter, which is on the website, so if anyone wants to look at that, they can look at that and read that. City Council has 3 employees, okay? Amy, our law director, and our city manager. And in the charter, it just clearly says, we hire these folks and we fire these folks. That's it. It's for an indefinite period of time. So I'd encourage all the citizens to maybe read the charter to see the process that we utilize that the framers set up because we are a government of city manager and city council. To you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Horn. And again, just very excited with Ms. Combs. I am really very much enjoying working with her, have enjoyed working with her over just a year now, directly. And so we're going to have good things. We have good things coming. I also wanted to commend our city staff as well, as Mr. Lawley pointed out about our Chick-fil-A. That is big news. Whenever we speak with Middletonians, it's one of the first two things people say, like, what do we want from Middletown? Chick-fil-A, definitely. So again, the work that was put in, and it's not just any kind of work, it was the perseverance, the tenacity that our city staff showed to ensure that this happened. We want to recognize Ms. Combs, also the entire, everybody in the city manager's office over the past couple of years, and for certain, our community and economic development department, the entire team, and led well by Director Lisha Moreland for their persistence in seeing this deal through. I'm very grateful. Last Saturday, the YWCA celebrated its 100th and 25th anniversary with the inaugural History and Heritage Festival in Hamilton, our county seat. The festival was a free community event aimed at celebrating the nonprofit's longevity and shining a light on the influential women and diverse cultures that have shaped Butler County. The History and Heritage Festival was a curated market celebrated women and minority-owned businesses and services in our region. And the festival honored women, culture, and storytelling in all its forms. 2 Middletown women were honored for their powerful, positive influence and transformative impact on Butler County. Our Middletown Health Commissioner, Jackie Phillips Carter, and the Executive Director of Midfest, Virginia Raitan. These 2 women have done and been so much for our wonderful city and beyond. My respect, admiration, and deep gratitude go out to them. This Saturday, March 22nd, head over to our historic Sorg Opera House located at 63 South Main Street in downtown Middletown at 8 p.m. for Turn to Stone, a tribute to ELO. This tribute band delivers an unforgettable evening of Electric Light Orchestra's biggest hits. Experience the nostalgia of a legendary rock band as Turn to Stone captures the magic of a 1970s ELO performance with a live string section, light show, and 70s clothing. For more information and to buy tickets, please visit sorgoperahouse.org. Sunday, March 23rd is the 7th annual Middletonian 5K. Join Burning Endurance for a 5K run and walk that celebrates Middletown, Ohio's rich history and supports the revitalization of historic downtown. This year, the Middletonian 5K is partnering with local organizations like the Butler County Warbirds and Downtown Middletown, Inc. to bring a new historical element to your run. The race will begin and end at the Butler County Warbirds Military History Museum located at the Middletown Regional Airport. Anyone who donates to the museum through this race will be entered into a drawing for a free airplane ride. For more information and to sign up for the race, please visit downtownmiddletown.org. After the race this Sunday, head over to New Ales Brewing at 1 p.m., located at 1330 Manchester Avenue in downtown Middletown for Plant Bingo. Get ready to shout Plant Bingo and win an array of plants, plant-themed prizes, pots, and more. Plants provided by Brandy Helton with Rustic Roots Collective. For more information, please visit downtownmiddletown.org. Next Saturday, March 29th, prepare for a paranormal gathering. Embark on a journey with the mysterious and supernatural at the Paranormal Gathering at the Windermere, a one-of-a-kind convention that beckons both skeptics and believers to explore the realms beyond our current understanding. Hosted within the historic walls of the Windermere, located in beautiful historic downtown Middletown, this event promises an immersive experience filled with mediums, investigation teams, captivating speakers, crystals, equipment, and spine-tingling podcasts. For more information, please visit thewindermere.com. Next Sunday, March 30th, New Ales Brewing is bringing you their spring craft show called Crafts and Drafts, located at 1330 Manchester Avenue in downtown Middletown. This event begins at 10:30 a.m. and ends at 2 p.m. Some items that will be offered include spring and summer home decor, jewelry, crocheted items, artwork, wood crafts, and much more. Food and drinks will be available for purchase. For more information, please visit newalesbrewing.com. As a reminder, the City of Middletown accepts applications for our boards and commissions throughout the year. So if there is something that you have an interest in and you wish to give back to your city in this way, please do submit your application. To learn more, please visit the city's website at cityofmiddletown.org. Lastly, and as always, there are many ways to get involved with your community and to give back. Join a board or commission, run for office, apply for a job with the city, volunteer at the hospital, Pick up trash in your neighborhood or park. Plant a garden in your yard. Smile at a neighbor. Find joy and satisfaction for a job well done in whatever work you do, or just have a positive and giving attitude. Find something that you can do regularly and give back. We are all connected and we are all in this together. The care of our city is an adventure in which we all get to share. That is all for me tonight, and this concludes our council comments. The next item on the agenda is city manager reports. Ms. Combs, do you have any reports this evening?
I do not tonight.
All right, well, thank you very much. The next order of business this evening is the consent agenda. While the consent agenda is generally for consensus items, do any council members wish to remove anything from the consent agenda this evening and move it to the motion agenda? No? Then we will continue. Mrs. Skank, please present the consent agenda.
For your consideration this evening, we have the approval of the City Council minutes of April 29th, May 21st, August the 6th, August 20th, September 17th, October 1st, 2024, and March the 4th and March 11th, 2025. To receive and file the following Board and Commission minutes: the Architectural Review Board, November 18th, 2024, the Board of Zoning Appeals, February 5th, 2025, and the Board of Health from February 11th, 2025. To confirm the appointments of John Helton to the position of Building Cleaner, Nicholas Kolock to the position of Firefighter Paramedic in the Department of Public Safety, Division of Fire, Quinlan Smith to position of Firefighter Paramedic in the Department of Public Safety, Division of Fire, Paula McDonald to position of Administrative Assistant in the Police Department, Bruce Terry to position of Network Administrator in the Information Systems Department, and Caroline Haney to the position of Administrative Assistant in the Law Department. To confirm the conditional appointment of Robert Wilder to position of Water Reclamation Mechanic in the Department of Public Works and Utilities, Division of Water Reclamation, and to confirm the promotional appointment of Macklin Bray to position of Public Works Leader in the Department of Public Works and Utilities, Sewer Maintenance Division.
Thank you, Mrs. Skank. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion?
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to accept the consent agenda. We will proceed to vote. Mrs. Skank, please call the roll.
Mrs. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Horn?
Yes.
Mayor Slanka?
Yes.
Mr. Lawley?
Yes.
The yeses have it. The consent agenda is approved. Our next item is the motion agenda. We have 3 items this evening. Mrs. Skank, please present item A on the motion agenda.
To approve the purchase of a 2026 International HV 507 SFA cab truck and chassis from Rush Truck Centers of Cincinnati, Ohio, in the amount of $106,828.43 for the Streets Maintenance Department.
Thank you. Ms. Combs, the staff report, please.
The Streets Maintenance Division needs to replace a 2010 International 7400, which is 43 months overdue based on the city's replacement criteria. This vehicle will be sold on GovDeals. The new 2026 truck will be outfitted with a dump bed, hydraulic system, snowplow, and salt spreader, and will be added to the snow fleet. It is available through state bid ODOT contract. We could choose to continue using the old truck, but it's aging and high cost maintenance incurs. We have sufficient funds within our garage fund for this purchase.
Thank you, Ms. Combs. Is there a motion to approve item A to approve the purchase of a 2026 International cab truck and chassis from Rush Truck Centers of Cincinnati, Ohio?
Motion?
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second?
Having been properly moved and seconded, is there any discussion? Seeing none, we will proceed to vote. Mrs. Skank, please call the roll.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Horn?
Yes.
Mayor Slanka?
Yes.
Mrs. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Lawley?
Yes.
The yeses have it, and the motion passes. Mrs. Skank, please present item B on the motion agenda.
To authorize the purchase of approximately 800 residential water meters from Badger Meter Incorporated of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the amount of $133.94 each.
Thank you. Ms. Combs, the staff report, please.
The city regularly purchases water meters for new installation, repairs, and replacements. The meters included in this bid are used in residential construction. 4 contractors responded to the bid. The city recommends awarding the contract to Badger Meter Incorporated. City staff are familiar with the installation and program of the meters and have been satisfied with their performance. The contract will last 12 months from April 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2026 with 2 optional renewals. The alternate would be to rebid the project. Sufficient funds are available in the water and sewer maintenance funds.
Thank you, Ms. Combs. Is there a motion to approve item B to authorize the purchase of approximately 800 residential water meters from Badger Meter?
Motion?
Is there a second?
Second?
Having been properly moved and seconded, is there any discussion? Seeing none, we will proceed to vote. Mrs. Skank, please call the roll.
Mr. Horn.
Yes.
Mayor Slanka.
Yes.
Mr. Lawley.
Yes.
Mrs. Carter.
Yes.
Mr. West.
Yes.
The yeses have it, and the motion passes. Mrs. Skank, please present item C on the motion agenda.
To authorize a contract with Grounds Pro of Westchester, Ohio for mowing of various city properties for the 2025 season. The total contract for this contract mowing is $144,873.
Thank you. Ms. Combs, the staff report, please.
The city has various properties that need mowing throughout the season, including city building, parks, and medians. For the 2025 mowing season, bids were submitted by 6 contractors. A contract extension was not offered for Group 6, therefore it was rebid separately. Grounds Pro, Westchester, Ohio, was the lowest bid received and is recommended to receive the contract. Our alternatives would be to reduce the number of cuts impacting the city's appearance, provide the service internally, which would be deemed cost ineffective. The cost will be shared between the auto and gas tax fund and the stormwater fund.
Thank you, Ms. Combs. Do I have a motion to approve item C to authorize a contract with Grounds Pro of Westchester?
Motion?
Is there a second?
Second.
Having been properly moved and seconded, is there any discussion? Hearing none, we will proceed to vote. Mrs. Skank, please call the roll.
Mayor Slanka.
Yes.
Mr. Lawley.
Yes.
Mrs. Carter.
Yes.
Mr. West.
Yes.
Mr. Horn.
Yes.
The yeses have it, and the motion passes. This concludes the motion agenda. The next agenda item this evening is legislation. We have 9 items of legislation this evening. Law Director, Mr. Alex Ewing, the legislation, please.
The first item is ordinance number 2025-09, an ordinance establishing procedure for and authorizing an extension of the current contract with Smart Bill Limited for the printing and mailing of water bills and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Mr. Ewing. Ms. Combs, the staff reports, please.
This is a request for a contract extension for Smart Bill Ltd. For printing and mailing of water bills. The city mails about 18,500 water bills monthly. Since 2009, Smart Bill has provided excellent service and has agreed to extend the contract through December 31st, 2025 with a slight price increase. Monthly costs are around $8,500 plus $14,000 annually for supplies. The city will absorb postage increases. This is a second reading emergency to finalize the 2025 contract.
Thank you, Ms. Combs. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
Motion?
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we will proceed to vote. Mrs. Skank, please call the roll.
Mr. Lawley.
Yes.
Mrs. Carter.
Yes.
Mr. West.
Yes.
Mr. Horn.
Yes.
Mayor Slanka.
Yes. The yeses have it, and the legislation passes. Mr. Ewing, the next item, please.
Item number 2 is ordinance number 2025-10, an ordinance establishing a procedure for and authorizing extension of contracts for grounds maintenance for 2025 and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Ms. Combs, the staff report, please.
This is to request authorization to extend and adjust the current contract with Clayton Property Solutions and HD Lawn Care for the mowing of various city properties in 2025. The total 2025 mowing cost will be shared across 4 funds: General Fund, Stormwater Fund, Water Fund, and Auto and Gas Tax Fund. This is a second reading emergency because the contract needs to be effective before our mowing season starts.
Thank you very much, Ms. Combs. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
Motion?
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we will proceed to vote. Mrs. Skank, please call the roll.
Mrs. Carter.
Yes.
Mr. West.
Yes.
Mr. Horn.
Yes.
Mayor Slanka.
Yes.
Mr. Lawley.
Yes.
The yeses have it, and the legislation passes. Mr. Ewing, the next item, please.
Item number 3 is resolution number R 2025-06, a resolution establishing the Butler County Regional Transit Authority as the designated recipient of Federal Transit Authority funds and Ohio Department of Transportation funds benefiting the Middletown urbanized area. Second reading.
Thank you. Ms. Combs, do you have anything to add?
I don't, but Matt Dukovich is here if you have further questions.
Okay, let's see here. Let's go ahead and have a motion first, and then we'll see if there's anything we have. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second?
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any questions for Mr. Dukowitz? Thank you for being here. Hearing none, we will proceed to vote. Mrs. Skank, please call the roll.
Mr. West.
Yes.
Mr. Horn.
Yes.
Mayor Slanka?
Yes.
Mrs. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Lawley?
Yes.
Yeses have it, and the legislation passes. Mr. Ewing, the next item, please.
Item number 4 is ordinance number O 2025-11, an ordinance authorizing a collective bargaining agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge Number 36 patrol officers for the term of November 1, 2024 through October 31, 2027, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Ms. Combs, the staff report, please.
Key agreement changes, so the current contract language will remain the same except the following articles. Article 7, wages, an 8.8 increase in the first year with 4.5 increases in subsequent years. Between steps, a 4.7 gap is maintained, which mirrors the city's PBO. A 2,200 ratification bonus will also be provided. Holiday time, limited to 4 cash-ins per year. Health insurance caps were updated to account for inflation since they were set over 3 years ago. Article 8, seniority, based off an officer's swearing-in date. And Article 14, drug testing, provisions now specifically include cannabis. Alternatives, the city may reject the agreement leading to mediation or binding conciliation. The financial impact will add approximately $400,000 to the general fund for the personnel cost. A supplemental appropriation is proposed. This is emergency passage because it's needed to implement the contract promptly to make retroactive payments due to the lapse in the previous contract in November.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we will proceed to vote. Mrs. Skank, please call the roll.
Mr. Horn?
Yes.
Mayor Slanka?
Yes.
Mr. Lawley?
Yes.
Mrs. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Yeses have it, and the legislation passes. Mr. Ewing, the next item, please.
Item number 5 is ordinance number O 2025-12, an ordinance authorizing a collective bargaining agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge Number 36, sergeants and lieutenants for the term November 1, 2024 through October 31, 2027, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Ms. Combs, the staff report, please.
Sorry about that. Key agreement changes here. The current contract language remains the same except for the following articles. Article 7, wages. Wages were adjusted to address wage compression between patrol officers and sergeants, ensuring a 5% separation between the ranks. The initial step for sergeants increases by 37% in the first year, with subsequent 4.5 adjustments. Lieutenants will see a 32% increase in the first year. New steps will be based on promotion dates. Ratification bonus, a 2,200 bonus will be paid to officers employed at the time of ratification 1 year after the agreement is finalized. Holiday time will be limited to 4 cash-ins per year. Health insurance caps will be updated to account for inflation since these were set 3 years ago. Article 8, seniority based off an officer's swearing date. Article 14, drug testing, provisions now specifically include cannabis. The city council may reject the agreement leading to mediation or fact-finding if unresolved a third-party conciliator would impose contract terms. So the financial impacts are for the 2025 budget, the 5% increase from 2024 will be approximately $245,000 in cost. The general fund reserve can update the increase, and the supplemental appropriation will be presented for council's consideration. Emergency passage is requested to implement this contract promptly, as this has lapsed in contract since November.
Thank you, Ms. Combs. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? No. The one thing I would just add is Ms. Combs had mentioned the 37 first-year increase, and I just wanted to point out that in the report, it also said it should be noted that the large increase in the initial step is a bit misleading due to existing overlap compression between current sergeant and patrol scales. So it's just that kind of correction that was there. Yeah. Okay. Is there any other discussion, comment? Hearing none, we will proceed to vote. Mrs. Skank, please call the roll.
Mayor Slanka?
Yes.
Mr. Lawley?
Yes.
Mrs. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Horn?
Yes.
The yeses have it, and the legislation passes. Mr. Ewing, the next item, please.
Item number 6 is resolution number R 2025-07, a resolution making appointments to the Butler County 911 Program Review Committee and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Ms. Combs, the staff report, please.
The Ohio Revised Code mandates that all counties mandate a 911 Program Review Committee with 6 members. The purpose of the Butler County 911 Planning Committee is to be responsible for creating and maintaining the county-wide 911 plan. The county-wide 911 plan describes how 911 services are provided throughout Butler County. The committee generally meets once or twice a year and reviews the 911 dispatch plan with all political subdivisions that are a part of. The committee recommends that the countywide 911 plan be approved or denied, and if so, is sent back for further discussion. The cities of Fairfield, Middletown, Oxford, Monroe, and Trenton have agreed on a schedule for each to hold an appointment for 1 year. Each city appoints its mayor as the primary representative with the city manager as the alternate. The City of Middletown mayor will serve on the 911 Program Review Committee from May 1st, 2026 to April 30th, 2027, with the city manager as the alternate. There's no financial impact, and this is an emergency legislation request because the committee seat has been vacant for over a year, and the county administrator aims to confirm appointments by the end of March.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second?
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Sorry, I didn't hear who moved.
Moved?
Mr. West.
Okay, sorry.
And then Paul seconded. Lolly.
You guys are starting to sound the same.
We sound alike.
Thank you.
Thank you. And it has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? No? Hearing none, we will proceed to vote. Mrs. Skank, please call the roll.
Mr. Lawley,
Yes.
Mrs. Carter,
Yes.
Mr. West,
Yes.
Mr. Horn,
Yes.
Mayor Slanka.
Yes. The yeses have it, and the legislation passes. Mr. Ewing, the next item, please.
Item number 7 is resolution number R 2025-08, a resolution repealing resolution number R 2025-02, and delineating overlays in relation to each of the proposed Crisco Townhomes incentive districts within the city of Middletown, Ohio, adopting a written economic development plan as to the same, setting the time and place of a public hearing, authorizing and ratifying the giving of notice to the Middletown City School District and the Butler Technology and Career Center, all pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 5709.40C and its related rules and laws, approving related matters and declaring an emergency. No action requested until April 1, 2025.
Thank you. Ms. Combs, the staff report, please.
The proposed legislation begins with the process of creating a tax increment financing district under Ohio Revised Code by announcing the public hearing and notifying the local school district, joint vocational school, and property owners. The city has a development agreement with the developer for the former Lincoln School site. The TIF district will help fund public infrastructure improvements. Without it, the developer may terminate the agreement. This replaces previous legislation due to the updated cost estimates. A public hearing is set for May 6, 2025, allowing for action before the agreement's due diligence period ends. The legislation will not impact the city financially. The developer will cover upfront public improvement costs reimbursed over time by TIF revenues. A TIF agreement will be presented alongside the final legislation. Assistance from the Middletown Port Authority may be included as well. The city may opt not to move forward, risking termination of the development agreement. This is a second reading emergency to ensure that the TIF district is established before the due diligence period ends.
Thank you, Ms. Combs. As this is a second reading emergency, there is no action to be taken at this time. However, is there any discussion from council? Hearing none, we will proceed. Mr. Ewing, the last legislation item, please. Oh, I'm sorry. The next one, please. Thank you.
Item number 8 is resolution number R 2025-09, a resolution to make adjustments to appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Middletown, counties of Butler and Warren, state of Ohio, for the period ending December 31st, 2025, general fund, first reading.
Thank you. Ms. Combs, the staff report, please.
This is a request for a supplemental appropriation of $3,264.88 from the unencumbered funds in the general fund to the fire operations travel and training budget. The Division of Fire received a state Ohio EMS grant in November 2024 after the 2025 budget had been approved. The requested funds are needed to cover expenses for an advanced burns class. This will allow for the appropriation of that money from the account from the unencumbered general fund. This is a non-emergency item.
Thank you, Ms. Combs. As this is a first reading, there is no action to be taken at this time. However, is there any discussion from council? Hearing none, we will proceed. And Mr. Ewing, the last item, please.
Item number 9, ordinance number 2025-13, an ordinance enacting and adopting the 2024 supplement S-16 to the codified ordinances of the city of Middletown, Ohio. First reading.
Thank you. Ms. Combs, the staff report, please.
The staff report recommends adopting an ordinance to edit and include certain ordinances into the codified ordinances. This will facilitate the incorporation of new material, publication of updates, and repeal of conflicting ordinances. The City of Middletown contracts with American Legal Publishing to maintain its codified ordinances. Periodically, ordinances are reviewed and updated to reflect changes in state law. The latest supplement aligns with changes effective through February 28, 2024, in the ordinances passed from council until August 6, 2024. The Law Department recommends adopting this ordinance to ensure the codified ordinances are current. If the ordinance is not adopted, a court may find that the codified ordinance do not accurately represent city law, leading to confusion. All costs for updating the codified ordinance has been pre-approved and paid with no additional expenses for this.
Thank you, Ms. Combs. As this is a first reading, there is no action to be taken at this time. However, is there any discussion from council? Hearing none, we will proceed, and that concludes the legislation for the evening. The next item on the agenda is unfinished business. Do any council members have anything they would like to bring up under unfinished business? Mr.
I have
Lally.
one item. Recently, there appeared on the city's website notification to landlords and tenants that there would be a change in the water and sewer rules and regulations. And that caused quite a stir amongst those individuals that it affected. I know several city council members were bombarded with requests from those people affected about what is this, and as a council member, I had no idea this was coming, and then what I found out, unfortunately, was that the city manager's office had no idea that this was coming forward, which I find that absolutely unacceptable. However, that will have to be dealt with in another manner. However, it's my understanding that we're working with to try to fix this problem and address it. So City Manager Combs, I wanted to give you an opportunity to let everybody know what's going to take place.
First, Scott, could you come down and give a little update for us?
Our Public Works Director, Scott Tadich.
So as previously noted, we're pausing the process to make sure we get it right. Things went out before they should have. It shouldn't have happened that way. Certainly apologize for all the confusion and concern that's caused. But going forward, we'll definitely bring this process back to City Council for their vetting before it goes to the public, and certainly give the public ample time to review this. So.
Thank you.
I guess the big thing we're going to see is the public will know when this is going to be discussed at council, a public hearing and whatever.
Yeah.
So we can give landlords an opportunity. Listen, and what I think really has to be done is it explain to the citizenry that why the city has to do this. If we have to do something.
Even if we have to do it at all, then we need to revisit the.
I mean, obviously the city can't lose money, but then we have to take into consideration how it affects our landlords and tenants both. So that's what should have taken place from the very beginning. Once again, as I said, I'm not buying miscommunication. It's unacceptable the way that was rolled out.
I have questions regarding the lead pipe issues.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard anything more about it, but I keep hearing on the news about the lead pipe.
So we're still doing the inventory at this point. We have until, forgive me, it's been a few days since I've looked at that, but we have like 3 years to do the inventory, and then ultimately 10 years to replace all the lead piping that is found. Now, we hope to do it faster than that, but that's the requirement per the EPA.
Okay.
Any further questions for Mr. Tadich? All right, thank you, Mr. Tadich. Is there any further unfinished business that anybody would like to bring up, council members? All right, then that concludes the unfinished business for the evening. The next item on the agenda is new business. Do any council members have any new business this evening that they'd like to bring? Mr. Horn.
It's always exciting when we open new buildings and then we see signs where former buildings have signs on them saying this is no longer a fire station. So I would like to request the city manager by the second meeting in April. What is the plan for the former fire station on Cincinnati-Dayton Road or Dixie Highway? I know we've had conversations about it, but I think we need to move forward of developing that into a police remote station. I know the police department is for it, and I think it's our property, and it'd be a good location, especially for out east and for processing calls. So I just like just a presentation in the second meeting in April of what the plan is, and then costs, because obviously we're going to be converting it from a fire station to potentially storage and also a police station with processing. That's all.
Thank you. Any other council members like to bring up anything under new business? All right, hearing none, that concludes new business as well. The next item on the agenda is executive session. And let me get this out here. Do I hear a motion to move to executive session under the authority of, hold on just a second, ORC 121.22G1 to consider the appointment of a public official?
Motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second?
It has been properly moved and seconded to move to executive session. We will proceed to vote. Mrs. Gank, please call the roll.
Mrs. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Horn?
Yes.
Mayor Slanka?
Yes.
Mr. Lawley?
Yes.
The yeses have it, and the motion passes. Council will now move to executive session.
Like that one's gonna need some gravy on it. You good?
We're good. All right, so go ahead and get started. Do we have a motion to return to open session?
Motion?
Do we have a second? Second. It has been properly moved and seconded to return to open session. We will proceed to vote. Mrs. Skank, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 The yeses have it, and the motion passes. Council will now turn to open session. There are 2 openings on the Historic Commission. We have had 1 application turned in. Is there a motion to appoint Anthony J. Rossi to the Historic Commission?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we will proceed to vote. Mrs. Skank, please call the roll.
Yes.
Mayor Slanka?
Yes.
Mr. Lawley?
Yes.
Mrs. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. West?
Yes.
The yeses have it, and the motion passes. This concludes our regular City Council meeting for Middletown, Ohio, Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. At 6:33 p.m., this meeting is adjourned until Tuesday, April 1st, 2025, at 5:30 p.m. in these chambers for our next regular City Council meeting. Thank you and good night.